What's the difference between a hedgehog and the Houses of Parliament? With a hedgehog, all the pricks are on the outside. I do not want you to be putting your financial future in the hands of that lot. They're an absolute shower, because I don't think any of them know what they're doing. In fact, I don't think any of them care about you and me. So my name is Paul Smith. I've been a property investor now for 42 years, and my very favourite asset class of all the different strategies and classes of property is commercial property. So this whole principle of how do I take control of my financial future is why I decided to put together this 3-part series. And in episode 1 of this 3-part series, we're going to be meeting real pensioners with real problems. I want to talk to you about reasons that people use to not get into commercial property, to not take their own pension matters into their own hands. Number one, even if I don't like my pension arrangements, even if I don't like how much money I'm going to have when I retire, there's nothing I can do about it anyway. That's not a reason, that's an excuse. It is so easy to take control of your own pension. It's so easy to change the level of income that you've got. The hard part is deciding that you want to do it. Reason number 2, I'm saving into a pension at work, plus I'll get my state pension, so I'm fine, thank you very much. You'll be shocked when you actually discover how much, or rather how little, your current pension is going to give you. So here's some homework for you. Please go and look up the current state pension, and you ain't going to get it until you're 67 at earliest. The age is probably going to go up over time. But separately, look at how much your private pension is going to give you. Your private pension, the average person saves up £100,000, just a little bit more. Most people put it in something called an annuity. They get 3 or 4%, and as a result of that, over a lifetime of savings, they typically end up with somewhere between £3,000 and £5,000, maybe £6,000 a year. That's not a month, that's a year. Realistically, is an extra £500-600 a month going to give you the retirement that you want, especially if you want to retire at maybe the age of 55 or 60. Reason number 3 that I often hear as to why people don't do anything: I'm already going to be able to leave my kids a decent legacy. Most people that say that have got money locked up in a house, and very typically that's people from the high value areas. That's London, the home counties, the southeast. If that is your plan, you plan to leave your children money that you've already got in your own property, think about inheritance tax. If you end up sadly being put into a care home or a nursing home, your health bill could be hundreds of thousands, if not millions. That sound you can hear behind me, if you can hear the sirens going off, that is a typical person's reaction. Oh my God, what am I going to do? When they realise what the reality is. By the time you've dialed 999 and you've got a fire brigade on the way, that's because your house is on fire. What I want you to do is sort your house out now, make sure it's not going to catch fire, rather than you're dialing 999 to put the fire out. We're born, we go to school, we get some education, we get a job. Then what do most of us focus on? We focus on that golden age, that retirement, where together, hand in hand, we can walk silver-haired down a beach somewhere and have the time of our lives, you know, playing golf all the time and round the world sailing trips. Never quite works out like that, does it, for most people? And we're about to meet some real life pensioners and get into some real life analysis of, number one, what their problems are, but more interestingly, probably, what the potential solutions are. So first, let's go and meet Leslie and Asmail and see what their view is. They have retired, or have they? Leslie, thank you for coming to London.
Not at all. It's a great opportunity to meet people and to meet you.
Your career mainly was as a teacher.
It was a teacher, deputy head teacher, acting head for a short time.
Mm-hmm. The whole purpose of this video series is to try and help people, and I know you're big into and you're a big advocate for financial education. Mm-hmm. And this is really aimed at helping people that want to be able to live a dignified and I would say comfortable retirement.
A lot of these pensioners, in fact the vast majority of them, have paid into a system for years. They have worked until they're in their 60s, and they should be secure. They shouldn't be frightened to turn on the heating.
Of course not. And do you think it's that then? It's that breach of trust? It's the system, it's the government,
go to school, work hard, get a decent job, and we'll look after you, is essentially the social contract.
Quite often you hear scare stories of teachers who've worked for 30, 40 years in the education sphere, and they die within a couple of years of retiring because they don't know what to do with themselves.
Sure.
Almost. I was determined to leave it early while I still had my capabilities to do something else.
Yeah.
Now, I did not know what that was going to look like
Okay.
until I came across yourself.
Hello, Alamael, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Paul.
And thank you so much for joining me here. Alamael, you are relatively recently decided to become part of Touchstone Education, and thank you for doing that. What was your motivation?
I've been watching the videos of Abby and yours, and the next thing I did was booked in for the 2-day training.
Okay.
It was like no thinking, dithering any other way. I'm just going to go, So I invited my daughter to be part of it, which is a major step because none of them really interested in property investment.
Sure.
And it was like, oh, she's mad. She's thinking about these things now,
Would I be right in thinking that this is, to an extent, more about them and your children and your grandchildren and wanting to leave something for them?
I think primarily, for me, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And if they learn from us,
Yep.
and if we haven't led that way, where's the lesson for them?
Sure.
Where's that coming from?
Before you came across Touchstone, had anyone ever mentioned the words SIP or SAS or commercial property or private pensions, or did you know anything about that?
I've heard them, and that's why I became alert.
So there was a level of knowledge, but that knowledge hadn't been put into action.
Yeah.
If you did nothing, and if you followed the system, which I know you're not, but if you did, what would your 60s and 70s have looked like from a financial perspective?
Grim. Absolutely grim. I would have had to sell my house.
The vast majority of people in the UK, they want to just pay off their mortgage so they're stress-free. When push comes to shove, when they haven't got enough money, what do they have to do? They have to sell it.
They have to sell it, or they think they're just scraping by, they're existing,
Yeah.
living in this house that's entirely paid for, which has lined a bank's pocket. If either of you or both of you become infirm and you end up in a home, they will take it off you.
Sadly, they will. I've got
And that
first-hand family experience of
horrible.
that. But just thinking about your pension, number one, if you haven't paid in enough national insurance contributions, you won't get your state old age pension. But do you know whether you will or you won't?
I will,
So
but
you've paid in for enough
unfortunately,
years?
yes, yeah. Unfortunately, I would have to be currently 67
Yes.
to get it.
Many people would think, watching this, that, oh well, lucky Leslie, she's one of those teachers with a gold-plated pension scheme. Do you know how much your pension will pay out, or is it paying?
It's paying now. It
paying now.
started. I have retired now. I could take up to 25% as a lump sum,
Yep.
which I did, and I'm glad I did because it meant I had the funds to readily do what I'd done.
Okay, so the 3/4 that you've got left, what does that work out to monthly?
£720.
That's a week, yeah?
That's a month.
I did hear you, but I was just
Yeah.
checking for everyone out there. £720 a
that
month.
princely sum. That's
Yeah.
right.
You're not exactly planning which colour of Porsche to get next, are you?
No,
With just that.
That's next week.
Next week.
But no, sadly not. I knew that by taking the lump sum, it would mean less per month. But I also knew I was young enough to do something
Something with it.
else.
What plans do you have for the next 12 months, or even longer?
I really like to walk the commercial side of business within the property.
And what attracts you to commercial in particular?
I just think it's different. It's more exciting. For me, it's really. I watch your commercial video, and that's what really. Okay, it's not about buying and letting and resis, and that's all easy. Okay, but now I want something different.
Through limited companies and through LLPs, or do you want to do that in a pension?
Pension is something will be very new work for me. So I like to set up pension, and recently I discussed that or mentioned it to my husband. He said, "Oh, really? Do you want to? What for? Why? And I thought, okay, I'm not wasting a moment about this. I'm
Yeah.
going to discuss where is right to discuss. So pension is something that I like to look into.
Because of your interest in legacy and the children, would it be valuable to you as a family
Oh, definitely.
in a year's time that yourself and the grandchildren are probably too young, but
if yourself and the children were all members of a collective doing something together.
That'd be lovely, yes. Yes.
You would like that?
Yeah, the biggest gift I can give for my children, really.
One of the things I know you're doing at the moment is you're renovating the home that you live in.
I am, yes.
Do you mind sharing with the viewers and listeners why did you decide to do it and what's the objective?
Well, basically because it's an Edwardian property, and if I don't maintain it, it starts to, I mean, it's 123 years old, so it needs a lot of attention.
Do you have a mortgage on it at the minute?
I do, relatively small. I could have cleared it with my lump sum, and I didn't.
Most people would have.
I didn't, because it's not a clever thing to do.
But how much do you think you'll increase the value by doing what you're doing?
I have a £72,000 mortgage left.
Yeah.
The lowest, they've said it between about 270 and 340.
Wow, nice.
So that's quite a lot of equity for me to have in something.
It certainly will be. And instead of paying off the mortgage, you're using your pension lump sum to refurbish your house. Let's say round numbers, it's going to be worth 300,000 by the time you finish. Are you considering increasing that mortgage up and taking that money out and doing something with it?
I'm going to use it as leverage because I'm going to take the money out of it as much as I can. I think I've got plenty of time to consider whether to buy off plan or whether to do some buy-to-lets or commercial, which has started to appeal to me a lot more.
On an annual basis, you'll see, especially coming up to Christmas time or in the winter time, you'll see pensioners faced with that most brutal of choices between eating and heating. What makes that happen is a combination of high fees for pensions. There's been numerous reports, for instance, that the average pensioner has saved up a private pension pot, in other words, nothing to do with a state pension, of a little bit over £100,000. Now let's say you retired at 60, as some people are fortunate enough to do, and at the age of 60, you bought an annuity. And let's say you've got a 4% annuity, which wouldn't be unusual. So for your £100,000, you get just £4,000 a year. You then pass away, unfortunately, we all do at some point. Unless you've made very specific provisions, that pension is going to die with you. And my objective isn't that we all retire like kings and we've got castles and servants running about. My objective is that we can all afford to eat and we can all afford some heating. And yeah, of course, we want some form of capability for interacting with our loved ones, our family, whoever that is.
We're approaching the end now of video number 1, and I hope you found this introduction interesting, stimulating, and to an extent challenging, because in order to grow, we need to challenge ourselves. Over the next couple of videos, I want to share with you the stories of real people that have done simple things to create a massive legacy. Not much you can do about your state pension, that is going to die with you. But the rest, your private pension, that can be in a trust so simply. In fact, I can show you how to set up a pension trust for free with various providers. Think about that. No inheritance tax on that amount of money that you've got in your pension, and the ability to pass it down to future generations without limit. Is that something you want to learn about? You're a few decisions away from having a very comfortable retirement, which is really why I'm making this series. My name's Paul Smith. Thank you for watching this video. See you in part 2.